Hello students, welcome to week 10. In social studies this week, you'll be finishing your module 2 assessment. And I want you to note that because this is a final project, it really is important that you do put in some nice time and effort into what you will be turning in and submitting. It's a larger point assignment and it really does need to have a little bit of thought and time given to it. And so when you go in, you'll see that you will have a PDF to open. It's time to show what you know about European exploration. And so you'll examine the picture and then you'll write a brief paragraph. So not a two-word answer, right? You're going to write a sentence or two explaining how the image shows things that you learned from the module. And I want it to be in complete sentences, kind of thoughtful and written out. And then for this one, we definitely need a good long paragraph. So making sure that you answer the question, explain your thinking with some evidence and reasoning, and then have a concluding sentence. All right, so then as we go into math, for week 10, you'll see that you have some assignments and some quizzes while you continue to work through Module 5, noting that there may be practice pages, but you're looking to the last page for the assignment that you actually need to submit. Also noting that if you go straight to that to-do list to get the activity, you're not necessarily going to have worked through the learning and your answers may reflect that. So I might remind you in feedback, please go back and look through the module and redo this. It doesn't reflect the learning from the lesson. So remember to go through the content to get to that rather than the to-do list so that you understand what the worksheet is looking for. For week 10 in science, you'll have one activity to submit and one quiz. This one has to do with motion, the activity. And so when you go to the last page after having completed the content, you'll see that this is the worksheet that's due, Energy for Motion and Change. And it's going to ask you to explain the type of energy, where it's coming from, and how it's affecting change or putting an object into motion. So you'll be doing that with a sentence or two here in the response part. And then finally, for language arts, in week 10, we go down and we see that you have two quizzes, and one of these is the final assessment. Remember that when you have to do some writing within the assessment, I am looking for complete paragraphs. So using a format where you restate the question in your answer and you answer it, then you cite some evidence or explain your thinking, and then you summarize your thinking. And also, if you're to write a summary, remember that you're pulling out who did what, where, when, and why. I've been sending you guys some feedback on summaries to make sure that you're reviewing the entire piece, but also that you're not going into too much detail. You're really just giving a broad overview of what happened. In 03.06, when you go to the last page, you'll see that it's going to be a submission of your writing for your final clean copy of would you agree or disagree that Genevieve is a creative person? Use evidence from the text to support your opinion. And this is where you're using races to support, or quote sandwiches to support your thinking. Okay, so you're using an introduction to the quote, you're adding the quote in quotation marks, and then you're explaining the quote and why that supports your opinion. So that's a real big focus of what I'm going to be scoring you on. So that's what will be due here. So this week, I really want you to take your time in language arts because you do have, a larger module assessment coming up, and then you'll have that final clean copy. So make sure that you're, giving yourself ample time to do well on all of those. As always, reach out to me on Tuesday morning or connect with me through an email if you need any additional support.